What is going on, everybody? I'm going to have to get set up here. So I just wanted to start this video stream early while I set up my wet palette, set up my models to paint. But it'll give people a chance to join in. So if you're watching this in the future, we're going to be painting Ossiarch Bonereapers. I was working here on this big giant, just putting down some contrast paint base coats. But he's too big to work on stream because he's only about 8 inches from the camera when he's standing. So just going to put him aside, get the wet palette set up, and we'll get started. So as always, this is a live stream so we can hang out and chat. There might be some valuable tutorial type information, but mostly this is a hangout so we can hang out. If you guys like getting bundles of as is miscellaneous piles of Warhammer, check out my eBay. I've been putting up a lot of auctions that are literally just basically all the pieces of an army. I don't know what the camera's doing, but here we go. Let's set up the wet palette. I had to clean it. It got a little dirty. So I got the pennies under there. It's supposed to be antimicrobial. I use distilled water. So I ended up soaking the sponge and washing it with rubbing alcohol. And then I also did a cycle of cleaning it with bleach because I hadn't used it in a little while. Basically, I've been having to sort out a whole bunch of hobby stuff, getting it on eBay. It really filled up the apartment here, and it became a little overwhelming. So I haven't got as much painting done lately. So there we go. That's probably enough water in there. Hopefully this autofocus thing situates once we get this. You know, I'm not sure if this is the actual, I don't know if this is actual wet palette paper here. It might be too much water. Whatever, we'll try it. I don't think this is actual wet palette paper. I think I just grabbed some wrong paper. So that's fun. We'll see. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. Definitely is not going to work with how much water I put in. So that's good. All right, so I guess we got that situated somewhat. This is going to be a problem. I can already tell. Okay. So I actually do have the handy dandy wet palette paper, and that looks quite a bit bigger than what I put on there. So I'm going to be honest, I don't know what this paper is from. I know this is a gripping stream here, but we got to get a different piece of paper on there. All right, there we go. That fits correctly. Just try to rub a little bit of the water on the paper. That's pretty funny because that means I have absolutely no idea where that other paper came from. And now it's soaking wet, whatever it is. Maybe it's like travel palette paper. I don't know. Oil paint palette paper? That's good. Anyway, so let's build our wet palette. I like to start with a little bit of a water bottle cap. I use AK Interactive Ultra Matte Varnish. And I just put that in the water bottle cap. Mix it with some distilled water. That's good to go. And let's grab the skeletons. Let me know in the chat. Do you think you prefer having them all on camera or one at a time? Let me know. This is sort of just a speed paint, batch paint, whatever. Trying to get these skeletons finished, more or less. I think I made a mistake on the Mortek guard. If anybody plays Ossiarch Bonereapers, in the comments, let me know. But I have 60 skeletons, but I have 2 here that are like champions. And I don't know if the unit can have 2 champions. And I wanted to kind of just keep them as 20 models together. So I guess if I can't, maybe I'll cut off the sword on one and put a spear on him somehow. We'll figure that out. Gnostic Blast, what's going on? Welcome. So, I don't even think I need the wet palette yet. So let me set that aside. Maybe some of that water will dry. When I did all the shields, I forgot to do the shoulder pads. They also have chest armor, but I think I'm going to just ignore the chest armor because this is somewhat of a speed paint, and I'm not sure the chest armor matters for the visual. Plus, it's going to be a pain to try to paint behind these shields that are already glued on. When I got the models, they were already glued on. So this is Ultramarine blue contrast paint. It has separation problems, so I'm going to have to shake this up for a second. This is the Necro paint pot holder. It was available on my last Kickstarter. I'll have them available for sale after shipping begins with the Kickstarter. But that's still about a month or so out because the paintbrushes are still being made. But it's really nice for contrast paint, so your paints don't knock over. All right, so we ship that up. Ultramarine blue contrast. We'll get, how about a size 4 ghost brush? So this is just the size 4 ghost brush. These are my paintbrush brand. They're available on eBay. Check them out if you haven't. People like them. And there we go. I changed the camera a bit, so it looks like you're quite a bit farther away, but it gives me more room, I guess, for my head and whatnot in the suit. Oh, geez. All right. So I think this is definitely a stream where feel free to chat and let's talk about whatever, because as you know, batch painting is boring. And especially batch painting large amounts of battle line. So what we're doing here is, hanging out, talking hobby. Did you guys see the new Mortal Kombat? Watch any other things I should be watching? Let me know. Excited about any of the upcoming previews next week. I think we'll probably see the first, I don't know. Do you think we'll see the first teaser of AOS 3.0? Or do you think they'll just give us the rest of the Broken Realms material? Show us all that's coming. That way they can get some hype and try to sell all those Broken Realms products before AOS 3 kind of replaces all of it. So I'll be curious what you guys think about that. I'm excited about AOS 3. The rumors are that battalions will be narrative play and open play only, and they'll have specific universal battalions for matched play. And generally, battalions can be a problem that cause, a bunch of extra rules stacking, hard to balance. Sometimes they make armies or units hit way harder than they would otherwise. So it'll be interesting how that plays out. Now, I think there'll still be winners and losers, of course, but let me know what you think on that. I'm excited, though, because a lot of times battalions, I think, They can be a problem, and when they are a problem, they don't address it for quick enough, and they just let it continue to be a problem for way too long. Now, of course, your definition of a problem could be different than mine. I'm not much of a competitive player, so I don't worry about my army being the best. I just want to have fun. If I play in an event, it's usually because I want to try and win best painted. So I, hopefully bring an army that I painted nicely. So that's what we're doing here. Just basically doing that painting that you hate doing, which is batch painting shoulder pads. Now, they do have chest armor, but because I bought these already made and they already have their shields on, I think it's going to be really a hassle to try and get in there. If you can see how it's hard to even see, but down in there. Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to deal with that. I think the chest armor is just going to be whatever, bone color. And then I might be able to still do the gemstone on their chest. So that'll at least give some kind of interest down there. But that's just one of the things when you get a good deal on some models, you don't get to build them because they already pre-built. So you just take what you get, make the best of it. Which for me is no problem at all because I'm happy to not paint extra stuff on these. When you're painting a whole bunch of little skeletons, things can get rather tedious. Yeah, even getting the shoulder pad on this guy is going to be a problem. So we'll just try to do an okay job. Getting that blue paint roughly where it needs to be. Has anybody in the chat had a chance to play Curse City? Let me know what you think of it. Ted, what's going on? Everything's going pretty good. Actually, had a buddy die, and I got a ton of stuff from the family. So I've kind of been overwhelmed with basically getting all that stuff sorted and listed on eBay. So that kind of put a damper on my painting and hobby because I was really getting stuff cleared out and making a lot of space. And my whole living situation in my little apartment became a hoard or warehouse of, sprues and unsorted gaming stuff because he was, like a gaming hoarder or hobby hoarder, sort of like myself anyway. So I basically doubled all the stuff I have, which got very overwhelming for a while. So I've been just trying to list it up on eBay in big assorted like lots. Like here's all the Sisters of Battle. I just put that up today that I could find. Obviously could be missing pieces. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's COVID-19 related. So that's the only close person to me that I know actually died from that. Which is a bummer. But yeah, I mean, he was mostly, mostly a good buddy as far as like a gaming buddy. So not like, we didn't really like hang out and do Thanksgiving dinner together, but I've known him for a long time. So to help out the family, I gave him some money to help clear out basically all the miscellaneous boxes of just like, I don't know, half done projects and things he was working on that was, his wife had no way of ever identifying. And since I've been around the hobby a long time, I was kind of the perfect person for the job. So I was happy to, give him a bunch of money. And now I've been putting it up on eBay, sorting it out, and trying to get my money back. So help them out, helps me out. I'm thinking about doing a video on that because I know a lot of us have a lot of stuff. And now I know firsthand what can happen when somebody leaves behind an absurd amount of stuff to family that has no idea what it is. And it kind of got me thinking about all my stuff. As, sometimes you reflect when something like that happens. Oh, wow. Yeah, my buddy, I think he was 47. Which is just crazy. He was in a coma for like 2 months. Or a month and a half. And then didn't pull through. Yeah, I'm curious. Thinking about doing like a video on that subject of, what are you what are you doing with all the hoard of stuff? Because I have a lot of stuff still, even without all his stuff that I just got. And I didn't even get it all. I just got, any unopened boxes and stuff. His wife was able, she can figure out how to sell that and try to get their money back. But basically, he was always wheeling and dealing too. So I, all these like giant miscellaneous boxes of sprues and things is what I acquired. But yeah, it did get me thinking on the subject of like if I were to die, what chance would my family have of, sorting or doing anything with all this crap I have? So I was thinking about making a video on that. But I just reset up the camera on the face down position here. So I think it's time to get some paint videos back on the channel. Yeah, and then during that time, that it was about maybe 2 weeks that I didn't really paint because I was just always organizing stuff. It was so overwhelming after organizing stuff. I just want to lay down and watch TV or whatever. And because I wasn't using my wet palette, it got really funky. So I had to then give that a really deep clean with bleach and rubbing alcohol. So now I just set it back up at the beginning of this stream, but I forgot I actually don't need it right now for all these little blue shoulder pads. Yeah, I think I need to, not necessarily a list as much as just, maybe the contained AdMech army contained Eldar army, contained Bonereaper army, like, in a organized couple bins stacked up. And then really, really clean out all these like half army projects or armies I'm probably never going to build or complete or work on or play, and just get rid of those, turn those back into money, put the money away. I think that's my plan. Well, it's actually been my plan for a while, but like I said, I just got bombarded with a ton of new stuff I got to figure out how to sort of organize. Yeah, like maybe instead of 10 or 20 different little containers with bits and pieces of models and stuff that I know what they are sorted out, I think I should just start getting rid of that stuff, selling it on eBay. For people who, know what it is and want to use it, because I'm probably never going to get around to using it. Yeah, it's surprising how fast. Like, it felt like such a huge setback because felt like I was making big progress over the last year and a half, really moving out a lot of stuff because I have the paintbrush company, so I need to have enough room, for that to be organized, and that's important, in an area to work on that. And then it just all of a sudden in one afternoon felt like all my progress was lost. All my furniture, seating areas covered in boxes again, except for my bed and my computer chair. And then it was just like every time I was like, oh, I should sit down and paint. And then you're looking, you're like, no, I should be working on that stuff. And then you start working on it, and then it gets overwhelming. And then you're like, all right, I'm going to go watch TV now. That's enough. But yeah, I think, maybe one big Tupperware bin or whatever, plastic tote, fill that with all my miscellaneous like Kickstarter models and WizKids models and just models I buy to paint and sell. Keep those organized in sort of a big grab bag plastic container. That way, when I feel like painting a model for eBay, just kind of reach in and dig around to find something. Because those don't need to be in, scattered throughout the apartment or nothing in different various organizational systems. They don't need to be organized at all until they're painted and listed on eBay for sale. So that's, one thing I think I could really improve my organization on. And then, if I could just get my armies a little more tightly organized, maybe put some labels on those boxes. All right, so we're just cruising along, batch painting. I know it's oh yeah, I know all about the little pathway to the bed and the little pathway to the closet. Yeah, one thing that was brutal was when I got all that stuff recently too. It went all the way down into my kitchen, So I had the pathway to the fridge. I had to move boxes to open the bottom cupboards or the oven if I wanted to do some cooking. So yeah, I've been pretty good at cleaning that out a bit. I made some good progress on it, put in a lot of work on it, and now it's back to painting. I do not love batch painting at all anymore. Like doing these skeletons here. This is only the first 20. I think I'll probably need to do at least 20 more. A lot of people that are playing the Bonereapers are using, 60, 80 skeletons. So, but I didn't build the army to do a skeleton horde. So I'm not going to be messing around with that, I don't think. But because I already have so many from my trades, I might do about 60 eventually. I don't know, maybe I could end up doing 80 eventually, but that's kind of how you get back into what we were just talking about, having too much stuff. In your mind you think, oh, maybe I want to play an army list with 80. And maybe I will once or twice, but it's unnecessary probably. Anybody just joined in, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Join in the chat. This is just basically a hobby hangout. Maybe after I finish these shoulder pads, we can get into something a little more interesting. Actually, I'll probably just work on something else on these skeletons. Maybe their spears or their shields. I think if you want to do a really good job painting these guys, probably leave the shield off. If you really want to get all the detail. But if you're absolutely tired of painting like battle line blobs, then put the shield on, and then you got a good excuse for not painting stuff behind the shield. Yeah, with one thing too, I actually got to play against the Ossiarch Bonereapers with my giants. I have my Sons of Behemoth giant army that I've been playing around with, trying to learn how to play AOS again. And I played against this army, and playing against it reminded me that, how much I don't like a lot of the AOS stuff, like how many rules and abilities you can stack on top of these battle line skeletons, and just, keep stacking buffs and making your little battle line guys on 25 mil bases hit way harder than they should be able to. I'm going to be honest, that kind of put a little bit of a damper on wanting to paint the army. Now, the plan sort of was the Sons of Behemoth are my Funzy army. And these guys would be my army. You know, if people wanted to play some of the more powerful army codexes, whatever those happen to be at the time. So I could have, you know, an army that I could be somewhat competitive with in the sense of, you know, having a pretty decent game against any opponent. You know, the Bonereapers are strong. Or, you know, maybe I'll just get an army painted and then sell off all the rest instead of making a full giant collection of Bonereapers. Maybe just keep it as a smaller army, you know, maybe 3,000 points. I already have that easy, probably way more. So paint up maybe like 3,000 points so you have some options on your build, and then just get rid of all the extra stuff. Yeah, like my 60 skeletons, they all have spears. So, you know, you could see a reason why you would maybe want 20 to 40 or so with sword and shield instead of all your skeletons having spears. But those are the ones I got in the trade, so it's sort of, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it to spend more money on the other build, or do you just play with what you got and, you know, who cares if it's maybe not the best? And I don't know the answer to that. I guess something I struggle with. I was working on the Eldar, and ended up buying a whole bunch of 28 mil bases from China, like 28.5 mil or whatever the new Howling Banshees are on. So I assume all the Eldar Aspect Warriors are going to get rebased to 28.5 mil when they get new sculpts. And I was working on painting them and putting them on their 25s that they came with. And then I just thought, you know, this might be a waste because I'm probably going to have to rebase these when the new basing size gets changed, or at least wait and see if it gets changed, which it already did for the Howling Banshees, so it's very likely. So I kind of put the Eldar on hold for a little bit. I could still do some of the vehicles and stuff, though. But I was sort of working my way through Aspect Warriors. I hope they don't do the Eldar Guardian on 28, because I did already paint 40 of those. Once I have these 20 done, that covers my battle line. Not how I plan on building the army, but, you know, 20 skeletons and 2 5-man Death Riders is 3 battle line. So I could actually play. But I mean, like I said, that's not my goal build. I actually saw a video of a guy talking about doing like an all Death Rider army, which are the cavalry guys. It was like a 25 model army. And that honestly sounds like the direction I might want to go. You know, maybe I just have these 20 skeletons or maybe 40 in the future maybe just try to build armies with the bigger stuff. I still don't own Catacros. But I got Archon the Black. So he's a cool choice for a general. All right. Yeah, it's crazy. We're going 35 minutes, and all we've done is painted like 15 skeleton shoulders. I know once it's done, it feels good, but batch painting is very slow and tedious feeling to me. Or the trick might be only do about 5 to 10 at a time, not 20. And you might feel like there's a little more progress being made. Oh yeah, that's about what we're working with here tonight. Get something else going maybe after this, or maybe I'll just keep batch painting on these skeletons while I got a little bit of motivation in me. What are you guys working on tonight? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if you're watching this in the future. I got some weird responses on my video about Cursed City not being maybe my favorite game I've ever played. And, the fanboys came out to attack me, which is funny because I consider myself a fanboy. Shoulder surgery. Was that on your painting arm? Oh, wow. Is that on the arm that, well, I guess both arms kind of are used during painting since one is holding the miniature. When I separated my collarbone, I wasn't really in the hobby as much, like into painting at the time, not as much. And, but man, it took forever to be able to do a dip or a push up or a pull up. Just putting that pressure on your shoulder. Months. I didn't get surgery though. I just basically did a sling and a ice pack. And maybe you could rig up some sort of terrain project or something. Stick some big terrain or stick a bunch of bases on your desk with like poster tack and then dry brush them all with your good arm. Something like that. Try to get a little bit of hobby in. if you got HBO Max, you could check out Generation Hustle. I just finished watching all those. They're all about like forgery and fraud and financial scams and Ponzi schemes, and basically each episode follows a different sort of scammer or criminal story. People pretending to be like royalty and different things. A lot of the episodes were really good. Kind of true crime, but without all the crazy murders. When I broke my, well, it's not really, wasn't sort of broken, but my collarbone was like separated off my shoulder. And I just used an ice pack and Tylenol for a few days or whatever, like Tylenol. I didn't get any prescription meds because I generally don't like taking anything like that, like a Valium or whatever they're called, like a painkiller. So if you're not using ice packs, I suggest getting the frozen peas on your shoulder. I think ice cures everything. Pretty sure the professional athletes pretty much all use ice baths and stuff to treat injuries and whatnot. So while you're resting, don't forget the power of the frozen peas. And hopefully that'll help you get back to painting sooner, or hobbying or gaming, or heck, if you only can't even use both arms, you probably really can't play even like a video game or anything right now. So that's probably a bummer. All right, I'm just going to use this Flesh Tears Red just because it's right here, and just do these little sword scabbards or whatever they're called. I don't remember if I really used this on any of the other swords, but this skeleton unit can be its own thing. And like I said, the color was just sitting right there, so didn't even have to think about it. And I think there's only a couple of them that actually have. Actually, maybe just the one guy. Yeah, okay. So just the one guy has the scabbard for his sword. Even the champions, or holding a sword, do not have it. So that's good. Convenient. Give that brush a rinse. Let these guys sit for a second. I'll show you some things I'm working on. So this is the third giant, maybe the last one. He's the frost giant from Mortek. So he's going to be he'll be my third one for my Sons of Behemoth big boys. So I just basically base coat them in contrast. So that's what I've been working on with him. It's just putting those contrast base coats on. Then I'll dry brush and then clean up everything. So it takes a bit because there's just so many straps and so much detail. Then when we get to doing some of the blue armor and stuff, I got to finish these guys. So I got to finish their halberds, trying to give the orange weapons more of like a power sword effect or whatever. Kind of a complicated shape though, so I'll have to just kind of have some liberty with that. And then highlight the blue armor and whatnot. So there's 3 of those guys. And then sort of the same situation on these guys. They're just not based yet, which got to finish the weapons, finish highlighting the blue armor, base them. And that's kind of about where the skeletons are as well. So it's a lot of sort of batch painting type stuff. Here's a finished guy. I hate that camera's doing that autofocus thing all the time, but you can see here on his weapon, kind of an orange flaming power weapon effect. So that's what I'll do to all the spear tips and all the weapons. And we do actually have 2 of them. So they're cool. So yeah, Bonereapers are coming along. I got some characters I need to do. These 20 skeletons, though, they really stalled me out for a bit. But once these 20 are done, I might be saving the last 20 for the very end, or the last 40. I think I might be doing everything else but skeletons. So on each individual skeleton, one thing I sort of got to do is probably fix the weapon here. That'd be the hilt. I don't know. But where my kind of red-orange got on top of it. So I need to clean up that on all the spears. Not a bad idea to maybe change the trim on the shield to be different than his body. I think that's a decent look, is if the shield is different than his body. Right now the shield's lighter than his body, but yeah, I don't know. I think it needs to be sort of a different color. Oh, this guy kind of missed a little bit on his shield. There we go. Oh, wow. Somehow I actually missed this guy's little tabard thing, too. For these guys, what I would sort of do for the Bonereapers that I've painted so far, kind of been using this Ultramarine blue contrast to base coat the kind of colored armor bone and the cloth. And then I sort of differentiate it when I highlight it. So I do slightly different blues and different amounts of highlighting. That way there is some difference between the blue armor and the cloth at the end. Even though they're base coated the same exact way. That's an easy way to kind of add some variety into your model without using too many different colors. Just sort of base coat the same color, but highlight it a little different. I don't know, we could do... I wonder. Thinking maybe you could do like maybe like a wash color and just sort of wash these little bone parts underneath the blade, and then maybe wash the shields and clean it up with a highlight. It's maybe not a terrible idea. Maybe it is. Let's try it real quick on the banner. Because this part up here on the banner Well, maybe we'll try it on the double-handed sword guy. Oh, you know what I bet I did? I bet, darn it. I wonder if you can have 2 of these double-handed swords for every 10 model, or, 1 for every 10. And I bet what I accidentally did, because I'm dumb, is I think I grabbed 2 champions and only 1 double-handed sword guy. I bet I'm supposed to have 2 double-handed sword guys and 1 champion. So that's a bummer. Because there's no way I can match this color again. Because if you remember when I was doing the wet palette before, it was just a big old mixture of different paints and colors. I mean, I could probably get it reasonably close, but oh well. All right, let's try Space Wolves Gray. I don't even know if I've ever used this contrast paint. All right, Ted, feel better, man. Hopefully you wake up tomorrow and have a little bit more range of motion. I'm sure that feels like a nightmare, not wanting to move at all. Feel better. See you next time. Enjoy your weekend. All right, so I don't like that at all with this Space Wolves Gray. I don't think that's what I'm looking for. All right, let's get the wet palette out. Man, I just made this. I already got hair all over it. How'd I do that? Taco Bell napkins or something here. Trying to think of a color here that would be nice. For the shield and the spear there. Partially trying to find a color, partially thinking of maybe a color that I don't use a lot so I can, use up some of it. I don't know. I don't know what to go with. Oh man, I have no idea what I want to go with here. That's interesting. Maybe Smoke Gray Warfront. Oh, actually, I think we'll put that up here. Smoked Gray Warfront color. That's not bad. I'll try to thin it out. That way it kind of does a one coat pass, but not like a, I don't care if it has like a solid coverage or anything, just as long as it differentiates this color bone from the color around it. Give it a little bit of kind of interest. Actually looks like it has a, you know, enough of a change here that pretty happy with that. All right, I think I'm okay with that. I think tonight I'll actually have to double check on my unit build here and see if I made a mistake on those two champions. Because if I can have two double-handed sword guys and only one champion, I probably should just try to fix that sooner than later. One way to do it might actually be just ripping that guy's shield off. You know, clip the champion's helmet, rip his shield off. That way he looks different than the other one. It's a possibility. There we go. Yeah, I think that's enough difference. It's hard to tell. Camera's not set up exactly great here, but I think that's enough difference to separate a little bit of the shield and spear from the rest of the bone. Happy with it. But yeah, it looks like our chat has pretty much died out, and we've been going about an hour. So I think we might just call it, because something is sort of slow and tedious, like painting little skeleton spears and shields and shoulder pads. I know it's not the most gripping to watch, but for me, as the one painting it, I think I'd rather listen to some music or something in the background. So I think I'll probably go ahead and put something on. Right after we finish this guy here. One thing I try to remember is just keep painting fast. Don't worry about cleanliness too much. If it's a little too rough, fix it, but don't be afraid to just let some mistakes stay. Because I would definitely enjoy painting things like battle line troops a little bit faster. That way I can use my time wisely on my characters and whatnot. Or on models I paint for sale. Those ones deserve the extra time and care. Whereas these ones, nobody really cares probably what the skeletons look like. So there we have it. We're going to call it right there. That's the stream. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Happy to be back getting a little bit of streaming done. Going to go ahead and check out the Ossiarch Bonereaper Codex as well. Make sure that I may need to get a other double-handed weapon guy in here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below, and we'll have some more painting done in the future. Talk to you soon.